What's up guys, Max here, and with all this Street Fighter V details, the breakdowns coming out, all this information popping over the next few days, as well as potentially 2 character reveals happening at E3, I kind of wanted to get some thoughts off my chest about Street Fighter V, how I feel about the game, how it's progressed, and kind of where we're at right now, because over the past like 6 months, I've barely been able to do a lot of Street Fighter V coverage of news and things like that because I've been working quite a bit, but now I have the chance. So, let's talk about it. The last 2 characters we saw were, of course, Charlie or Nash, as well as Bison, and just based on their designs, I was not a huge fan of the art and design of Nash. I think the halfway looking face thing he's got going on, the Frankenstein look, is not that cool. However, his animations are freaking awesome. His neutral pose is really damn cool, and I like how he is not a too special charging character like Guile. He is not a Guile clone at all now. In fact, they actually changed a lot of the inputs of his special moves, and he's not entirely a charge character anymore, which is pretty awesome. The same thing can kind of be said about Bison. They did slightly change Bison. I wasn't thrilled when I saw his trailer. I think it's good that Bison's in here because I think he's a critical character to Street Fighter, and he's very important to have. But at the same time, I think he still very much looks like Bison. I do like the cloak. There is just enough change with his gray hair and his, new trench coat to make him look a little bit new while being a little bit different, while Ryu and Chun-Li kind of are almost identically the same. If you look at them in the current versions, like right as they look in, the E3 build right now, the graphics and look of the characters have gotten dramatically better than when they were revealed back in 2014. So I will give them that even though there isn't a huge drastic change to how Ryu and Chun-Li look, they do look aged now, and they don't look like, mid-20s or something, whatever. They do look like characters that have properly lived in the universe for a little while, which is good because I do like the way the characters are moving around. Ryu moves completely different than every other version of Ryu. Chun-Li, however, looks very similar to her Third Strike version. She's got, like, her flip kick from the Alpha games, which is very similar to that of, like, the Versus series as well. There's some similarities, is what I'm trying to say. They're trying to keep a little bit with the old and a little bit with the new. However, what they're doing with Nash and what they've done with Bison, I think, is very smart. They've kind of taken the original movesets, they preserve some stuff, but they kind of turn it on his head, or turn it on their heads, so that they aren't identical characters that we remember from before. I wish they did something like that to Ryu. Ryu is getting the parry thing, Chun-Li's getting, everyone gets their unique V-trigger that makes them very cool. But at the same time, I do feel that there is a chance right now for Capcom to do something very important for the Street Fighter series and the future characters, and is to eliminate the biggest trope that has this kind of like stifled fighting games, as well as Capcom and even Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat series, and it is the Shoto clone or the ninja clone trope, which kind of identically, you take a character and then you slightly adjust their moveset and you get a new character. Ken and Ryu are the greatest example of this, as well as Akuma, and Dan, and all the other Shotos that are within Street Fighter. And don't get me wrong, I actually like Shoto characters the most in Street Fighter. In fact, I had no problem if there was only Shoto characters and slight differences between the two. That's a very unpopular opinion because people tend to not like Shotos because they're used so much, but I find them the most fun and the most fundamentally Street Fighter-y types of characters throughout the series. Now, even though I don't want to talk about characters that have not been announced yet or characters that I want to appear because I want to save that for a couple of videos that are going to be coming up over the next couple of days, but holy shit, Ken right now would be the perfect example of a character that you could eliminate the Shoto clone. We've all seen how Omega version for Street Fighter 4 was a great example of what they could do with the Street Fighter engine and kind of twist it in a certain way and make it feel completely different. Because Omega Mode was a great idea, and they actually practiced some things in Omega Mode which are becoming very apparent now in Street Fighter V, how Omega was a alpha of how they can mess around with some characters and what they could do in a different type of Street Fighter game. And it's working out pretty well because I think the Omega versions of characters is great, and Ken's version in Omega is insanely fun. They changed how he throws fireballs, they brought his crazy kicks back. All I'm saying right now is that Street Fighter V is potentially the best chance that Capcom has to eliminate the Shoto clone trope by making Ken not a traditional Shoto, by making him more kick-focused. I don't think he even needs to throw fireballs. Make him extremely offensive-oriented, give him a faster walk speed. Ryu is a very grounded character that does a lot of damage. Maybe just make Ken do a little bit less damage, but he's much more offensive-oriented. I think these things would be fantastic if we just flip something a little bit. He's still got his big flamin' Shoryuken, which everyone freaking loves, but at the same time, I loved what they did with Omega Mode. And even though Ken had these angled fireballs and he has slower fireballs than Ryu. You kind of got to keep a little bit of that stuff, but at the same time, I see a huge opportunity here, and I think you guys might actually agree with me in this situation. But what do you guys think about the current characters in Street Fighter V? Based on what we saw with Nash and Bison, I do like the direction they're going, and I hope they actually continue this for the remaining roster of characters as they come out. Of course, I'm still waiting for Ken. As you all know, I'm really waiting for that character that I can really bind my heart to, because so far there really isn't one amongst the roster. I just kind of want to learn the game and then eventually find that one character that I just want to do amazing stuff with, which super motivates me to become very good at the game or learn how to play the game to a higher level. That's my biggest motivation, and if that character is going to get severely adjusted gameplay-wise, but they still look really cool, I am totally fine with that, and I'm really looking forward to what Capcom has in store for the future characters. Of course, guys, when those characters get announced, I'll do a breakdown, and hopefully they'll be playable at E3, so stay tuned to this channel. We'll be back with more Street Fighter V videos as soon as possible. My name is Maximilian. Thank you very much for any support, thumbs up, or subscriptions, and I'll see you guys next time.